It is great to see companies listen and deliver what they think their users need. And this is an almost perfect example of such a thing. Upgraded looks, added flexibility, added DAC, great screens with VU meters, and the price remains the same. Yes, I am speaking about Aiyima A80, a great follow-up to Aiyima A70. Where the previous A70 was more like the utilitarian box, this is more modern with a new great screen. I have love and hate relationship with screens. I love them, but I could honestly live without them. But some people really enjoy them, and some people really enjoy VU meters. And Aiyima does allow 3 different home screen designs, with 2 of them having the VU meters, and one is more like a regular equalizer type look. I personally prefer the most with the 1 VU meter. I think it looks the most pleasing when it moves with your song. But there is one issue I have with all of this. While the screen is truly nice, they made a huge, let's call it vanity error. It is nice to have all these visualizations at your disposal, but to me, always the most important thing is volume and source. And volume and source are so small that it's ridiculous. Why they didn't create at least one visual with big numbers and letters? I barely see volume changing from where I sit, and don't let me start the name of the source or something like that. It is impossible to read. I think they chose this route of making things pretty but not so useful. But my problems do not end there. I love balanced XLR, and I love XLR that existed in Aiyima A70, but they're sadly non-existent. But to be realistic, this was probably a conscious decision on Aiyima part, as what A80 have that A70 does not, it's DAC. So there is a lot of new digital inputs and outputs that previous models did not have. As they wanted to remain competitive in this price range, they chose to have DAC instead of the balanced inputs. And that might be, for many, be a much better choice. And not just any DAC. This is an ESS 9038 Q2M. Not high-end, but definitely a high-performance DAC. This is pretty decent DAC, and I listened to it in many different devices, and it always performs quite well and has such this clean sound to amplifier. That DAC is really decent. It can match your sub 150, 100 euros DAC, which makes this truly magical, as amp itself is now at or below 200 euros. The versatility that this amp opens is incredible. You get your coaxial, your optical, and USB-C for connections. There is Bluetooth and 12V trigger. Aiyima does speak a lot about cooling and heat sinks, and truly they have sideways and bottom opens for heatsink to remove hot air. This is great, but I still found that my Aiyima after prolonged work became hot. But still, heatsink is an important piece of every amp hardware. More companies should invest in better cooling chambers and heatsinks, as prolonged exposure to heat could damage your device. All in all, it's a nice build, small device that can integrate anywhere. But what is important is what is inside. Now, the device I have is the best one you can buy via AliExpress. It is a device that comes with 48V5A power brick. In Aiyima specifications, they mention 10 ampere power bricks, but unless you have one, Aiyima does not offer it in bundles. Which is sad because Aiyima flounters this 250, 288 watts, but that is only with 10 ampere power bricks. With one you get with this device, it is more like 120, 144 watts in 4 ohms and like 102, 112 watts in 8 ohms. Not bad numbers, but not something really amazing. But great thing about external power bricks is that you can add your own linear power supply eventually, which can be of better quality and therefore to improve the sound of this amp. But it doesn't end there of the quality of improvements. Aiyima have allowed really easy to swap op amps, which again they bring tangible better results when you purchase more quality ones. This thing might seem excessive to buy, but the great thing about them is that you can use them whenever you upgrade to a new amp, and they will always, almost always certainly improve the sound. Will it be external linear power supply or OM amps? We have your usual suspects of TPA 3255, which is by now being used by so many devices, and is powered to be a great Class D chip for amplification. Other thing for people that like to tinker with sound, you have bass and treble adjustments to equalize the sound to your likings. But what all of us are here is the sound of this device. And I might say that Aiyima truly did not skip here also. If you know the sound by this specific chip, you might already know what are you in for. But what surprised me a lot is how Aiyima chose to go with a route of having a great emphasis on balance and transparency. More than anything else, it truly is clear sounding. It truly is trying to act as a looking glass into production and mastering of your favorite tracks. Honestly, I was shocked how much it sounded pristine. This is a bit different from other amps where they try to have some dynamic colorations one way or other. This was great for more laid-back listenings, as it could really work well if some production is not good. It will not go too bright or too dark. It truly helped with uncluttering the mids, to have that clash of bass and treble be just very tamed and organized for you to hear everything. But honestly, I was shocked how good it was. I truly am. And the soundstage was also pretty decent. I truly enjoy with such a clarity catching instruments on their place and lane. That makes the soundstage height bigger and wider. It truly opens with such a great soundstage, with such a great pristine, clean grace. The imaging is where this kind of sonic signature helps a lot. And also, same like with soundstage, it is also really dictated by the speakers you pair them with. This is not a magical wand that makes your speakers that don't have good imaging or soundstage suddenly become exceptional, but it helps them a little bit. But the imaging was on point, in the middle. It did not swing left and right. It stayed where it should, clear and uncluttered in the center. There is also a bad side of this amp. Unfortunately, one big issue that I have with it is that it is not dynamically rich amp. You might have noticed that I have not spoken about treble and bass in my previous sections. It is that they are shy. They will have a decent amount of spread and details and textures, but they do not extend as much as I wanted. Honestly, it feels like this amp is maybe a bit too balanced. Not much colorations in that sense. The treble does not extend greatly, nor does bass. I cannot say that they are poor, they are decent, but that is it. just decent treble and bass. They will work well as a foundation to other frequencies and instruments. They will detail your sound, give it a spread and thump, but never will you feel like there is something special there or something that can rival other amps. Do you feel that double kick? Yes. Do you feel that soaring guitar in solo? Yes. But that is it. It has enough details and textures so you can be satisfied with it, but nothing special here, especially nothing to rival some amps in this price range. Synergy is an interesting thing here. While truly I think that this amp has a dynamics problem, I also think it is a great chameleon and servant. It just allows your gear to dictate the tempo here and do it so well. Its balanced nature will work well with Polk's bass. It will work well with Power's treble. It does not take anything from them or add. So if they are talented, they will not overblown it or downplay it. It works well with a lot of gear. It will help your speakers flourish in midsection almost certainly. It will help untangle some speakers which are a bit messy in the mids. It will help with spreading the soundstage of it and let vocals have space around them. Maybe a bit boring synergy would be like with the super balanced speakers like some ELACs, but in general you pair with whatever you want, and especially if it's one of those speakers that is really bright or really dark, so because you know when they have such a powerful frequencies in bass and treble, they sometimes make clutter in the mids, so this is a good amp to unclutter all that. This does not mean it is bad. You have Fuzzy, which are a bit warm, you have SMSL, which are a bit bright. Topping also lies in the spectrum of balanced, going left and right a little bit. It is all what you want and expect from sound. You can add excellent Aiyima T20 preamp to add a bit more character to the sound, a bit more colorations, a little bit more warmth. Now I recommend that you buy preamp to add a bit more character and weight to your sound. So please look at the amazing Aiyima T20. Is this a most complete amp under 200 euros? I think so. It has a great sound, great DAC, screen with all those nice visuals, great body with a great heatsink, and a lot of power. There is not much to fault here, but I cannot stress enough how amazed I was with some aspects of this amp, how I enjoyed the laid-back but clinical listenings with it, how transparent, clear, and superbly organized it is in mids, how joyful it was to listen to music with it. It is not perfect, it lacks a bit dynamics to make sound more exciting, more rich of a bass and a treble. It also lacks XLR inputs. But that is it. If you want something for Aiyima A90, it is that the sound becomes more interesting, a bit more power hike, and maybe like to raise the price to 300 euros and update the DAC and leave the screen, VU meters and stuff like that, and you will get almost a perfect device. But in a sea of a really tough competition, where some brands might have slight edge of sonics, Aiyima comes full swinging with versatility and quality. Will that be enough for it to win likes of Fuzzy, Topping, SMSL and similar? It is all on you, listener, to decide, is this sonic signature right for you? Because if it is, this amp delivers a lot of value and a lot of quality. Thanks for watching, keep daydreaming and see you soon. Bye!